Hey everybody! Today we're going to talk a little bit more about DNA. So we're going from the cell and zooming into the nucleus and learning about the, the structure of DNA and genes and how it makes us us. So DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid, and you guys have probably seen images kind of like this one in the past. I just wanted to touch on how we got to that image. So there was a scientist named Rosalind Franklin, and she used this technique called X-ray crystallography to get this image that's on the right here. From that, her colleagues, Francis Crick and James Watson, actually figured out that DNA is what we call a double helix. So that's this kind of twisted shape of two backbones and like the ladder runs in between. And then I think this other image here was taken it was pretty recent, like 2012. This is an electron microscope image of DNA. So this is taken by shooting electrons at something essentially. And you can see just kind of like a fuzzy line. So I just wanted to show you guys, it's pretty wild that we're able to actually know about the structure of something on a molecular level when it's just so tiny and we have images like this to go off of. All right, so we have got a cell here in the top left corner. And what I'm going to do today is zoom in on the DNA, the chromosomes that are in the nucleus there. Talk a little bit about the chromosomes, which are made up of this double helix DNA structure, which we're going to zoom in on. And then we're going to go a step further and look at what DNA actually looks like as a chemical compound. So starting with the cell kind of overview, I didn't draw in the organelles here, except for the cell membrane and the nucleus, obviously. But what we've got is in the center of our cell here, we've got DNA. There are 46 different strands of DNA inside of a human cell. So we call those different pieces chromosomes. So you've got 46 chromosomes inside of your cells in your nucleus. So we're going to zoom in on those chromosomes. You actually have 23 unique chromosomes, but you have 2 copies of every chromosome because one comes from the egg and one comes from the sperm. So each chromosome is going to have certain genes on it. So chromosome 4, for example, has this one gene called TAC3 on it. So TAC3 is really important in cell division. And it has been linked to certain types of cancers if it's not functioning correctly. So you're going to have the gene for TAC3 on chromosome 4 on both the sperm chromosome and the one that you got from the egg. What's kind of cool is, say that gene wasn't working well on the chromosome from the sperm, it still might be working on the one from the egg. So whatever the consequences of having that gene not working well are, might be covered because you've got 2 copies of it. So we say sometimes DNA is redundant because it's kind of like we've got a backup copy of every gene. Okay, so yeah, 23 unique chromosomes, 46 in total because there's 2 copies of each one. We're going to zoom in on that to the double helix shape of DNA. All right, so we have now got what Watson and Crick found from Rosalind Franklin's image, where we've got these 2 backbones with kind of ladder rungs in the middle. Now, we break down DNA into sections, and each of those sections is a gene. So there are different genes, and they're kind of like the recipes, I was calling them in the last video, for different proteins. So you got 20,000 to 25,000 genes that make up your DNA. So sections of DNA are called genes. And we're going to zoom in now on that structure. So I just want to go back here. See how there's these ladder rungs drawn in there? That corresponds with these that are going across here. And then this backbone, this part that's kind of like twisting around here, corresponds with the lines on the sides here. All right, so the molecular structure of DNA, you have got bases. So bases pair together and they form those ladder run parts. So we've got bases forming base pairs, and you can see these have letters. I'm going to explain what those are afterwards. We've got the backbone here made up of sugars. So these little things are drawn as houses, like houses, and phosphates, which are these little circles here. So we've got a sugar phosphate backbone with base pairs holding them together. And then each of the sugar phosphate base combos we call a nucleotide. So nucleotides are kind of like the building blocks of our DNA. So here again is the general structure of a nucleotide. We've got the phosphate, we've got the sugar, and we've got our base. Now, those bases, so the parts that form the ladder runs, can be one of 4 different things in DNA. 4 different molecules: adenine, which we represent with an A, cytosine with a C, guanine with a G, or thymine with a T. And they bond very specifically to each other. So see how on this image G and C are bonded together and A and T are bonded together? And I put the picture upside down, but I'm not going to fix it. So C only ever bonds with G. It's never going to bond with A. So these are very specific about how they bond. And you can see on the bottom here, it's kind of represented like A is a little bit of a triangle, and T and A fit nicely together. That's how I usually draw it out. But just remember, A goes with T and C goes with G. Your genome, the human genome, is 3 million base pairs long. So on those 46 chromosomes, you have got 3 million base pairs, so C and G, A and T combos. Those base pairs make up 20,000 to 25,000 unique genes, so recipes for proteins. And then those genes are found on 23 unique chromosomes, which have 2 copies of each of those, so 46 in total. Yeah, so it's pretty cool stuff. There's more of an explanation in the DNA notes, which are in the Google Classroom. So I'd like you to have a read through of those as well. And then there is a DNA assignment for the week where you're actually going to use things that you have around your house and try to build a model of DNA. So you can get creative with that. There's some suggestions on the worksheet. And have fun and good luck with that. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.